we'd really like to remind everybody that, Innovate Island is a community. It's not formal, it's not funded, it's not lobbying. There are lots of things it's not. But Frank Hannigan is very good at saying we've got a good bunch of people, great spirit. We have a great kind of salon sense of what we do. It's a shoulder to cry on. And how do we make Ireland a better place to innovate? How do we make Ireland better at innovating is a kind of a vision that we can aspire to while we work on the global platforms for best practice. Vilho and I both do that, and Paul has started working on that shortly. While we work on professionalizing what we do, and in the UK, they've just started what do they call it, Vilho? Is it an Institute of Innovation Management? You're muted, Vilho.
Oh yeah, the Innovation Management Institute.
Yeah, so they're formalizing. We don't have to go that route, but it's an interesting thing to consider. Vilho works in Sweden, as some of you might recognize or realize from previous engagements. And Vilho is an old friend. Not that he's old, he's just an old friend. It's a different thing of us here in the community. And so Innovationsledarna,
yes,
is our predecessor. They did this before Innovate Island does. So one of the things we're looking at is who else is doing this and doing this right, or doing things that we can learn from. Is one. There's another connection with some people in this room. Sweden, Vilho and his colleagues is another one. A real shining light for me personally. And what Charlie's doing with professionalizing with competency framework and ISO standard, but we won't hold that against him. These are some of the things that are constraints or platforms or directions from which we should develop further. So great. These are the kinds of things we're working on. Let's have a look at the experience of Paul and Vilho in terms of what they found in exploring our first year of offering a mentorship support service. Really, we have to say we offered it, but it was enabled and provided by Vilho. So very much thank you, Vilho, and everybody else in Sweden. Paul, thank you very much for diving into the fray. How did you get on? What do you have to say for yourself? And afterwards, we might, make your life tough just for 10, 15 minutes. Over to you. Who's starting? Is it Paul? Is it Vilho?
I will share my screen and we can kick off. Can you see my screen? Excellent. So it's been absolutely fantastic past 8 months. And thank you to Innovate Ireland and the leaders for nominating me and selecting me. Vilho's been an absolutely amazing mentor, and the program itself has enabled me to grow as an innovation management professional. I've met amazing people from around the world, and I've had absolutely fantastic conversations. So as Owen teed it up very nicely there, today's session is going to be about the mentorship program. Wrong one. So today's agenda, I'm not going to try and pronounce it correctly. I'll use the English version. And we're going to go through who they are, why they exist and what they do. We'll go through the mentorship program, learnings and insights from my point of view, and then some announcements, and then Q&A, and we can hand it over to you to ask the tough questions. So I'll pass it over to Vilho for the Innovationsledarna piece.
Sure. So let me take you through, I think if we can go through we're on this slide. Excellent. How many of you saw my talk on Swedish innovation culture a couple of years back? I know Owen did it. Ryan did it. Good. So we have some people who were there, but the easy way to say it, or the difficult one, the Association for Innovation Management Professionals in Sweden. That's also a mouthful. We can see ourselves now. Excellent. Thank you for fixing that. Not for profit, just like Innovate Island. We're also key difference. We ask our members to pay us some money, so we are self-funded in that sense. It's not a lot. It's we raised it for the first time in 14 years. No, not 14. 12 or something. 12 years this year to about 90 euros. So it's not a very expensive membership. It's a not-for-profit. We're about 250 members. We have some regional hubs, so we're not just in Stockholm. We try to cover the entire country It's area-wise a little bit bigger than the island of Ireland, but you know, we try to be everywhere in some sense, and digital makes it a lot easier. So my role there is to be the head of operations, and that's a new role. So a small percentage of those membership fees actually goes to fund a small percentage of my time. So I still put hundreds of hours into the association that I'm not being paid anything for. We're still at that point in time where we're very much doing this out of passion. And I think that will keep being something that we do, though we are now getting more structured about finding ways to fund activities by getting research funding or other type of funding instruments by leveraging the institutions that our members are a part of to do joint project proposals where the value proposition of the network is leveraged. So if we go to why we exist, similar to Innovate Island, we want to develop the professional role of innovation management and have been doing so since the inception. Establish innovation management as a discipline in organizations. This is thanks to the common efforts of all of us in ISO now becoming easier and easier with ISO 56001 being launched. And also to promote the members' development themselves. And we're going to be publicizing soon the finalists for Innovation Manager of the Year, which is an award that we will award together with the Research Institutes of Sweden and Sweden's Innovation Agency, Vinnova, on November 18th. And if you want to follow along during that day, it will not just be the award, there will be some cool panels and some good researchers talking about the board's role in innovation management. And online participation will be fully free, so you can just go to Innovationsledarna.se and sign up. Bear in mind that you will need to change your country to Ireland, otherwise it won't accept your phone number when you do the sign up. And the sign up page is in Swedish, unfortunately, because, well, that's just the way we have this set up at the moment. Apologies for that. That's why we exist. And for this year, we, as part of promoting the profession, I'm happy to say that we have some really good finalists in this year's edition of Innovation Leader of the Year. And I think that's thanks to the work that we've all been doing for the past 20 or so years in building up this profession. Not just the Swedes, but all of us together. What we offer and why we're here, I think, today is a job description, a body of knowledge, personal certification. Myself, I'm personally certified as an innovation management professional. The body of knowledge builds upon ISO 56000 and addresses that with practical sources for how you do the things that you're supposed to do, which the standard says that you should be doing, but not necessarily how. So that's what the body of knowledge provides you with. We do thematic meeting groups and community events such as yourselves. And today the topic is the mentorship program. And that is something that I think is the most treasured by everyone that has been part of its service that we do offer. I think we can go to the next one.
So I'll take over.
I think I will allow you to take over and see what you say about it having been a mentee. So we'll see if you've learned anything. But this is our most treasured service that we provide, and we're very, very happy to now be developing that service together with Innovate Island.
Don't worry, I'll only say good things. So the mentorship program, we'll go through the program itself, what it entails, a bit about the mentorship, how pairing happens, and who should join on both sides of the coin from mentees and mentors. So the program itself is February to December. It's a 10-month program. There's 3 sessions during those 10 months. There's a formal kickoff in February. There's a midterm meeting, and there's a closing program event in December. So this year's mentorship program hasn't officially ended yet. There will be one final event to come. For mentorship itself, between the mentee and the mentor, there's 4 individual sessions, and here I put can be negotiated, because that's the first thing I did with Vilho. I negotiated one mentoring session a month, because I'm a busy guy and I need the support. So thank you, Vilho, for being flexible and just being all around an amazing mentor. But one of the main things from a mentee's point of view, it's their responsibility to arrange and book the meetings and drive the agenda. And that's something I'll talk a little bit more about in my learning and insight section of what mentees need to do and sort of the principles that they need to embody, let's say. So from a mentor and mentee pairing point of view, mentees to provide a list of mentors of biographies. It's obviously recommended to read through the biographies of all the mentors. That's what I did. I think when I was provided the list, there was 30 or so mentors, and I did research into every single one of them and cross-referenced the direction I wanted to go with each of the mentors, and submitted my order of preference accordingly. And then from a mentoring point of view, they provide mentoring in their areas of expertise and any requests that they have, such as locational language. For example, some mentors might only want to meet in person, so that could be a constraint. And another thing to note is each mentee is only assigned one mentor, but on the reverse side, maybe Vilho can jump in here. Can mentors have multiple mentees?
If they're very popular, we do reach out to them and ask, would you be so kind to consider to have additional mentees, since you're a very popular mentor in this year's session? So that is, but you're only signing up to have one, and you may also receive none. It may be that there's no mentees in this year's application round that rank you as one of their choices. So we can, it's a mentee program, really. It's for the mentees, but it's also up to the mentees to do all the work. So that's why we try to cater to them. But so far, it's very rare to have a mentor that don't receive a mentee.
Thank you, Vilho. So who should join from a mentee's point of view? I would argue everyone, but I think it would be of most value to junior innovation management professionals or people new to the profession in general. And why should they do that? Well, like as we all know, all skill sets and practices differ across contexts, and innovation management is no different. And we all have underdeveloped areas in our skill sets. We all have the opportunity to grow and learn new things. And I believe that this program, along with mentorship plus the body of knowledge, which we'll get to momentarily, help you develop the right competencies to do that and to excel. And from a mentor's point of view, it's relatively straightforward: people who can add value, and why, help and see others grow. So learnings and insights from my point of view, and the topics we'll be going through is the body of knowledge. That is something I have been studying a lot over the past number of months, and there's a new version that was published in September, so I'll have even more study to do in coming months again. And then I'll go through the application of theory, what I learned from the mentorship program, some career development points, and my advice to mainly mentees who are joining, but I think the advice is applicable for most people. So from a body of knowledge point of view, this picture on the right here is a picture of one of my bookshelves. There's a lot of books there. I went all in on the books. The body of knowledge is comprised of 12 areas, and in that there's 51 articles, 417 pages, 38 videos, 22 books. We get the picture. There's a pretty substantial amount of knowledge that has been gathered here across the 12 areas. And the 12 areas are divided into that. And please correct me here, Vilho, if I get this incorrect. Some of the areas will be combined, developing, depending on the roles that you go into in organizations. Like small organizations, you might have broader responsibilities. So more of the knowledge areas will be more applicable than if you're in a corporate context where things might be a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
So the books about 7 left to go through. And all the books on the right, not all of those are from the body of knowledge. I believe actually all of the ones from the body of knowledge are there, but there is some additional ones.
Yeah, so the setup in the body of knowledge, just to be clear, that the 51 articles and the 38 videos, that is what constitutes the body of knowledge. And then the 22 books are, let's say, read more or see more citations. So the articles themselves condense a lot of the knowledge that is in those books. So the books are for those who want to go the extra mile, such as Paul. But you can, in theory, gain the knowledge that you need for the 12 knowledge areas to be able to go and work and build innovation management systematically by just reading the articles. If you're a very busy practitioner that doesn't have the time to read the books, but if you want the meat and the fat, then there's a lot of pages of books to read, and the books are very good.
They are excellent. And yes, I should have mentioned that the body of knowledge is divided into required reading and sort of optional reading. And yes, I did end up going the extra mile and really delved into it. And as I mentioned, there's a new version after being published in September. And I believe one of the knowledge areas is now on ecosystems. Is that correct, Vilho?
That's correct.
Yes. So moving on to the application of theory. So learnings from this program for me is mainly how innovation theory is applied in varying contexts, because I would obviously come from the body of knowledge and heavy on the theoretical side, and talking to practitioners such as Vilho or other people through the program, I would understand how they apply these. They wouldn't necessarily call it innovation theory, or they wouldn't necessarily label the frameworks, but I would see the connections and understand how it gets applied in their context. Other ones would be like how to get buy-in from innovation initiatives within organizations. You'd have the sort of standard funded from the P&L, or you'd have use intrinsic or extrinsic motivations and sort of hook it on to the motivations of, let's say, seniors within the organization and what they want to achieve, and what to be aware of when running innovation initiatives in organizations, and sort of the hurdles that you can bump into. So from a career development point of view, the learnings for me from this, obviously lots of conversations would have been exchanged between myself and Vilho and the professional path that I want to go. But there's also Beyond the Champion by Gina O'Connor. Excellent book for a starting point to just understand various innovation roles and the forms in which they come in. And then the various career paths for innovation professionals. I think there's many paths, and then of course from my own personal perspective, the underdeveloped areas of my skill set that I should focus on next. So next thing is my advice, and this is my advice to mentees, but it's also my advice to, I think, most people, because these are just really good things to try and master. So obviously focusing on emotional intelligence, first and foremost, learn how to think. So always questioning sort of the lens in which we operate now and how that lens might no longer serve us, and learn how we approach things, what is our default way of doing it, and going about it in a different way depending on the situation. Being clear on your ikigai, this one was fundamental for me. I started focusing on this about 2 years ago. And for those who aren't familiar with ikigai, it's what you love, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And some other ones: don't wait for permission, cause change. I think that's really, really important, especially in innovation context or leadership context. And always be curious and always seek new perspectives. And that's something I try and embody all the time. Surround yourself with people who know more than you. I think that's fundamental. And then from an ambition and acceleration point of view, live as far beyond your comfort zone as you can handle. Now, that's obviously going to depend person by person, but I think that's also something incredibly important from a growth angle. And ruthlessly prioritize what matters and relentlessly chase your goals. That includes being ruthless about what you say no to. Right? Understand what matters to you and say no to the things that don't help you achieve what your goals are. And one of the other things to make this whole piece of advice sustainable is learn when to accelerate and consolidate. Because if you accelerate forever, you're just going to burn out. But if you consolidate, you're not going to go anywhere. So you need to know when to when to when to slow down and how to do that, because that will largely vary on context. So wait, hold on. Is that the next one? It is the next one. So I'm going to pass it back over to Vilho because there is some announcements that we have, and yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So the new thing for this year, I think, is that we're now going to allocate 4 spaces for members of Innovate Island for the mentorship program. So we're happy to assist you with that service and match you with our pool of mentees and mentors that we have in the wider program. And that is not just Sweden, it's also Trinidad and Tobago. So that comes from different parts of the world. So obviously, most of them are Swedes, though, at this point in time. And then, of course, we're doing the Innovation Leader of the Year on November 18th. And since Paul is a very judicious person, he's going to be paying the membership fee and join the program next year and not steal one of the spots of the Innovate Island members.
Yes, so it is. This is a sustainable model, so you don't have to keep swapping in and out from people from Innovate Island in the future. So all 4 slots are available to Innovate Islanders, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to joining as a mentor, and I'll be rejoining as a mentee as well, because this year alone, while I've learned a huge amount, I still have a lot more to learn. So I'm really looking forward to continuing that journey as well.
Yes.
So
I just want to add that you don't have to be such I mean, the amount of energy and time and effort that Paul has spent into the program obviously benefits him a great deal, but you don't have to perform at that level to be part of the program. You don't have to read the entire body of knowledge of innovation management to be a mentee in the program, or a mentor for that matter.
But reading the body of knowledge is a great thing to do, and I would recommend it. But it's so that's pretty much it for our presentation. So thank you Innovate Island, and thank you for listening, and thank you for selecting me 8 months ago, and thank you for having us. So over to you.
Thank you so much, Paul and Vilho, and there's huge value. Vilho, tell me once again, how do I say it? Innovationsledarna.
That sounds Italian.
I don't know what's going on, but I'm just back from China, so maybe it was Mandarin. So
Innovationsledarna, but I think you can just say the Swedish Association, or.
Well, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just pointing out how bad I am at doing that kind of stuff.
But, everyone is, outside of Norway.
Very good. Well, they're very good at everything, aren't they? Now they found golden gas, they've just get everything going. So
yeah, well, they're not very good at innovation because of all of the gas and oil.
That sounds like a bit of a Dutch problem, doesn't it? That's another discussion. We won't go there today. But Paul and Vilho, thank you very much for doing that. It was really priceless. I think we'll get a chance to do this, to have this conversation again. Before we dive into the questions, and there's some on the chat already, Vilho, if you can see that. I would say that the 4 leaders who have been most active are meeting next week on the 11th. And Brian, you were rather otherwise engaged, so I don't know if you've heard about it, but I'm going to meet with Charlie and Catherine at least, and maybe Alan if he's available next Tuesday afternoon. Let me know if you're around. So that's the next thing. How do we reflect on that? We'll have a coffee stop next Friday, and next Friday we can bring up feedback from this Friday. A question to Paul and Vilho. There were really great slides. Hopefully we can share those in the portal, but if that's not appropriate, let us know. And not this instant, but we'll need to craft something that goes as a post on the portal confirming the offer for next year. Again, let's not do that today. And it does raise a question which we don't need final answers on, but something people can think about now. Who would want to be a mentor for next year? Who would want to be a mentee for next year? You've heard Paul's opinion. Well done, Paul. And you've heard that the Swedish Association has made a very generous offer, and there's a bit of applause from Charlie on chat. So that's where we got to from today. What I'm going to suggest as we go around the room, I've got a couple of questions on my own before we finish up, but this isn't a conversation that's to finish within the hour. So let's just try and give everybody a chance to have their say, or to say over to somebody else. Before I ask that question, Vilho, Paul, any last minute thoughts, questions, priorities that you'd like to raise, or will we dive in?
I can answer the question in the chat, that the monthly commitment, that it's really up to the mentor to say how much time they can give, more than 4 meetings a year. So what we're asking is to have meet with your mentee quarterly. And the program starts in February, closes in December, so you should meet 4 times in a year. That's what we ask of the mentor. Mm-hmm. And then if the mentor wants, and then you should, if you meet quarterly, you should probably meet for 2 hours. And you have one of these really, really excited mentees like Paul, maybe you want to give them more time. So we've had 90-minute sessions monthly from February.
Paul is not hard to figure out. He's earnest, he studies, he's learning fast. So Paul and I are meeting next week, and I'm allowing Paul to buy me 2 steaks and a pint of Guinness, and that just demonstrates the generosity of my spirit, and how desperate Paul is to learn from me as well as Vilho. So it's the engagement, guys. I don't think it's the hours, it's the engagement. There is an extension to that question, Vilho, in the chat, which is Charlie's comment.
So that the qualification requirements for the mentees, the qualification requirement, I think is quite simple. They should want to better themselves within innovation management. And we've seen mentees from ages 20 to 60. So it's really all ages when it comes to the mentees. And I think for the mentors, thank you, Brian. For the mentors, obviously, there's a lean towards more senior in innovation management, but we don't stop anyone from saying that they want to be a mentor, because it might be that there is a good match if you're up for the mentorship. So what we do is we curate this deck of mentors and we send it out, and then it's up to the mentees to select who they want to mentor them. And if there's a match, there's a match. And the program strives to match every mentee that's in their responses.
Have you ever really had a situation where somebody's
that's really like a non-answer to the requirements of skills for the mentors, but we've seen time and time again that there can be interesting matchings even with mentors that maybe don't think they are, so senior or have the age.
Do you have currently examples of people who are mentors and mentees at the same time? Certainly, yes. I can imagine.
Yes, about 30% of the applicants in the program are both. Or varies Paul, from year to year.
I'm going to pass this on around the room. Declan happens to be first on my screen, but before we get Declan to speak, his signal isn't that great. Any last minute comment from you, Paul?
I don't think so, other than if people have the opportunity to join this and a willingness to learn and throw themselves into it, do it. You're going to learn a huge amount. There is a wide range of mentors from varying backgrounds, and you can always reach out to people who aren't your mentors for conversations. I've done that during this program. I've reached out and spoken to people from Trinidad and Tobago. I've spoken to people from Florida. I've spoken to people from the UK. I've spoken to people from Sweden. So like it's as Owen said, it's about engagement, right? It's not hours. It's taking the initiative and reaching out to people. And this program provides a lovely community where you can do that, similar to Innovate Island. And everybody's there to learn and to better themselves and to give. So if you have the opportunity, go for it, because I don't think it would out.
Amen. Mr. Lennon, I know you can hear us. I know you were worried about your signal. We'd love to hear your thoughts or your questions. Go on, put some pressure on Paul. He could do with some of that.
No, I won't in any way, shape, or form. It's my first time here in this forum, so I'm just literally here to listen and observe. And I was interested in the topic. I kind of part-time work as a mentor in Ireland, so I was interested.
Lovely to hear, Declan. I'm sure we can build on that experience. I know John Murphy couldn't be here today, but he's very Eric can't be here today, and his Learnovate really touches on this topic really tightly. So he's loving. He'd love to hear what comes out of today. It'd be one of our first full watchers of the video that comes out of today. So be nice. Probably mainly is targeted at me. Thanks for that, Declan. Carl.
I actually answered most of my question there. It was more about what the commitment was to understand that. So that's useful. Just in terms of the, like, I'm thinking as if one of my day jobs is in Fáilte, Ireland. I work with the service design team there. Some really good people on that. Is it limited to Innovate Ireland? Should I get them? I should probably get them to join Innovate Ireland actually, first of all, and then because I know this is there's a few people who are in the innovation space and in public sector as well, who really value the mentorship. So I might see reaching out to bring a few people, make them aware as well. So
certainly this is intended to be a community activity, so it's about the membership of Innovate Island, but the membership of Innovate Island is not supposed to be terribly exclusive. We do have people who have worked with us and are members from Trinidad and Tobago and other countries besides. And it is notable over the last couple of years, the majority of people who we see on a regular basis are established in their profession, and we have 900 people on one LinkedIn group and 150 people are on the portal and active to a degree, and then like this we've got 5 or 15 or 20 people who show up on a Friday, and when we ran an event which was in concert with others, we got 115 people in the room. Paul, at least from this group, Justin was at that event called Impact. So it's about creating impacts, and it's about Ireland as an island for innovation, and then it's about us explorers and experts and everything in between, and how we can support that. So it's not closed, it's open-ended, and how we can help each other. What I'd say about the qualifications, to Charlie's point, is in an open community where we see each other, those things are not hard to maintain, particularly when it's not for profit and the opportunity to misuse resources is limited. But I'm just putting that out there as something to be knocked down. Carl, would you be interested in mentor-mentee, or do you have another perspective on it other than curiosity?
Mentor-mentee, actually, either. The last couple of years I've been looking at, I'm from innovation background, but in the corporate side. But the last couple of years I've been moving over towards sustainability and trying to leverage the skills there, because I think there's a huge opportunity in sustainable business rather than my usual corporate innovation, which is very much bottom line focused. So I think there could be an opportunity. It's to kind of like all these things. It's like the more exposure to get to more ideas. There's always some benefit in working with other people and hearing from other people. And I like that point about, I think it was Charlie said, like the 17-year-old. There's a lot for everybody to learn.
That's in chat, by the way.
Whichever way it goes. Yeah. So but I've also got a couple of people in mind as well who I think actually. It's been a while since I've been back in the group, so I think there's an opportunity there to sort of spread the word about what you're doing.
While we're talking, Charlie's echoing our conversation in chat. He's obviously feeling lonely. He's not busy enough doing 3 things at once. He's got to contribute here as well. That's brilliant, Carl. Thank you very much. If someone wants to pipe in, do just stick your hand up virtually or physically, or shout. Alan is next on the screen. I don't know if he can hear me, and then Mark.
Owen, yeah, I can hear you. Still in the car, but stationary. It sounds. I mean, I'm interested that you've expanded it so radically, and it's a fabulous opportunity, because we were very hard pressed to try and figure out how we would allocate mentoring, and maybe get some people from Innovate Island to join as mentors, or it was an open-ended offer. But I'm glad that based on the one prototype that you've done, you've decided you're going to scale it out. So that's great. That's a win.
You here to be clear is Vilho and his colleagues in Sweden have been ridiculously generous. Now they are generous people, and it's the nature of a community. But why is Vilho interested in doing this? Maybe Vilho, that's something you can touch on briefly.
Yeah, I think it. Obviously, there's a balance of, there's a reason we're not saying 40 spaces, because it takes time to do the call and the pairing and the matching and all of these things. So it consumes some effort. But looking at last year, we had, I think, 56 people engaged, 56 unique individuals engaged. Most of those are Swedes, of course, but we had, I think, about 10 or so from other countries. So we know we can handle it. We know that it's good for the individuals that do join. We know it enriches the program as a whole. We know it would be probably too much to have 40 spaces, because then it would grow too fast. But going from 1 to 4, that's definitely not an issue. And we were very, very happy to see that the mentor-mentee pair that we had with the UK, that the Swedish mentee took the opportunity to go to BSI Innovation Day and meet up there. So,
excellent.
We definitely see the value that some people like to do the international mentorship pairing. We know that not all of our Swedish mentees or mentors would want to even have a mentor outside of their own city. So there's a wide mix of people and what they want, and we're happy to continue to cater to that. And we think more people from Innovate Island joining the program next year is one way to do that and to grow the program.
Okay, that is a brilliant response. Thank you very much. Mark, if your eyes are still open, if you're still alive and still with us, what did you make of all of that? What would your interest or concerns or thoughts be in reaction, in reflection, mature reflection, Mark?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think I only started joining these calls a couple of weeks ago. It's nice to see something like this instead of a bit more detail going into some of the programs that are going on. Look, I think it sounds really interesting. I probably be keen to look at signing up personally. I've done some similar things in the past, and they've been kind of mixed value. This seems a lot more structured and a bit more valuable, honestly. I like the idea of like the corpus of information. That's something I think we sorely lack in organizations that I've worked in, like innovation organizations. It's never really organized. It's always very reactive. So we're really keen to see what else you have in terms of resources, and if there's anything you have published externally about like any of the articles or book lists.
Yeah, the body of knowledge is freely accessible under the resources page on our website. So you can just download that straight away. And if you take enough time and free trial, blah, 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 so you can get most of the sources at no cost at all. And the biggest cost is that if you want to have everything immediately, you should probably get 1 month of Harvard Business Review, and then you can cancel after that. But maybe you can scrub that from the recording. I don't know. It's a way to cut costs.
That's entirely valid. Also, there are ways of getting these things free of charge sometimes, and then they're distributed in ways that are not entirely intended. So there are many ways to skin a cat, and sometimes the ethics are entirely sound. It's just other people's opinions you have to watch out for.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to watch your ethics. So it's a balance. But that's the point about you do it in the open, you do it in the community. While we're speaking, there's some great comments from Charlie. Further examples of this. Is anybody who can't see the chat, by the way? Otherwise, I read those things out. That's fine. Okay. Now, that's fantastic. Thank you, Mark. Don't fear piping up again. Charlie, I don't think you can speak because you're only typing. So we might volunteer Justin next, but if Charlie's face pops up, we'll know he's eager to say something to us. Over to you, Justin.
I think I arrived late. My apologies. I think I need to investigate more. I think the body of knowledge sounds really intriguing. So that's my winter reading list. Thank you.
the body of knowledge is fascinating, and it's a huge amount of work, as Paul found. It's not the same as a degree. It's not that it's worse, it's different. So, I mean, that's a question I might come back to, Vilho, with before the end of the session. But before I do that, Catherine, how are you doing? Where are you? Can you talk?
I can now. I'm in my car. I apologize, gentlemen. I had intended on making your detailed report, and I'm sorry a meeting ran late. But hello, Vilho. Long time no see.
Good to see you.
I caught the very end of it, and I'm just delighted to hear that it went so well, and I'm very impressed that it has moved at the pace and the degree that which the programming itself has gone. And look, from a Innovate Island perspective, it is in all of our interests that we maintain these relationships going forward, because we can all learn from each other. So whatever opportunity we have to deepen the connections and indeed, pay it forward, because there's a lot of knowledge that we can share between us. So in whatever format, and whoever wants to put their hand up for the next round of it, I appreciate the workload. And look, like us all, for those of us who are in the trenches of trying to kind of build communities and get that moving, it is always sometimes thankless work. But when little magic moments like this happen, it always kind of, adds to the momentum to keep kicking on. So well done, Vilho, and I applaud your Swedish colleagues for their innovation and their commitment as well. I know, Paul, certainly you've spoken highly about your experience, and you are, in fairness though, an atypical sponge for information. And the commitment you've shown has been wonderful, and I'm there feeling, oh my God, there's no way I could read all that stuff. But well done, you, and for maximizing the opportunity.
Well said, Catherine. Yeah, Paul, you make us feel old and inadequate. Cut that out. Okay, thank you very much, Catherine. Did you have any thoughts? Now, it's a bit early, and we're going to meet next week anyway, the 3, 4, or 5 of us, some combination. Any thoughts on how might we do this next year? Is it simple that we take up the invitation from Vilho and that's what we run? Did you have any different thoughts? Links with the competency framework, links with other platforms, best practices, or conceptions? Or is it best left kept simple today?
Well, I mean, look, let's just firstly keep the connection going. And like through innovation, whatever we can build and improve on, let's do that. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's obviously a working model that, as anything with people involved, will always ebb and flow. But from our perspective, we're keen to keep the relationship going. How we can build on it, I don't have an immediate. All I know is that we want to continue.
Agreed. Now, we're not having an election as we speak. We're not campaigning. It's just to put thoughts out that people can react to and build on, or knock them down, or whatever suits. Okay, so if we say for an hour on a Friday, we stole time from Paul and from Vilho because they put together a presentation. So thank you very much for doing that. You shared your experience, which I knew some of the story of before, during, and afterwards from talking to Paul and Vilho. And in terms of the impacts, we hear Paul's word for it, that it's valuable for him. And then we hear that the offer and the structure is developing, staying fairly similar and available next year. But Vilho, can you say anything about the impact you'd expect to see from this? You talked about, non-Swedes enrich in the entire program, just diversity. You've talked about the body of knowledge developing itself. How can you see the mentoring program develop from your perspective? To what end?
First, I'd like to answer Charlie's question in the chat, just to clarify that the ISPIM has actually adopted the Innovationsledarna body of knowledge as the ISPIM body of knowledge, and will continue the curation globally from there. So in that kind of joint arrangement, Innovationsledarna will maintain a seat on the editing team of the now soon to be published international body of knowledge for innovation management, so that it's not just a Swedish product. And then we will probably see in coming revisions some more changes to it over time, and it will be a more truly global product now. It's obviously produced by Swedish people mostly, and that has some benefits and some limitations.
I'm sure that's true.
These related, yes, Charlie.
Yeah.
That's the short answer.
I'm sure it's true that only having Swedes, so to speak, is a limitation. But I would still maintain, for all that the Swedish innovation profession is looking at what's happened in recent years and said, we've missed a few tricks because we're leaking value. So I'm hearing that from you and your colleagues. But I would still say that Sweden is doing innovation, as we understand it, innovation management, or looking to do it better than others, as opposed to or along with R&D and other activities. So I think the Swedes, what you've done has a lot to teach us still. If you looked outside Sweden, where would you look for body of knowledge development, for mentorship program, for communities that are doing this really, really well? And that still is to Vilho, just to spark other people's brains.
Well, I think ISPIM is a very good intermediate for that, to be that kind of bridge between practitioners and academics who care about innovation management. I think that is a very good community for that. There's other more niche communities. If you want to go deep into research, there's communities for that. But I think if I would give one answer, that would be ISPIM. But I'm also biased because I'm part of that group too.
That's true, but I hear you as saying I didn't find an equivalent or better when I looked, and that suggests to me that Vilho and his colleagues looked.
Yes, of course, yeah, definitely looked, and I think that is the most community-spirited one that we've found so far, and that is what we do in Sweden, and that's the kind of minds that we want to collaborate with. I think I've lost your mentorship program question. It came in and then it was disappeared.
I was putting a few things to get you thinking. I can see the steam coming out of your head, so I'm declaring victory and moving on. I don't need another technical answer from you, in other words. But what I would do is turn that question around to Paul before handing over the questioning to somebody else for a couple of minutes. Paul, we see what we get when we work with someone, Vilho in this case, and the Swedish Association, because they're bluntly ahead of us. Can you see how we, Innovate Island, might develop this? We've got a partner. It's fantastic.
I think the collaboration with the mentorship is absolutely excellent, and helping develop the competencies of innovation management professionals in Ireland through Innovate Island with Innovationsledarna. I think one of the great things that we could learn from in Innovate Island is maybe the thematic group meetings, is having more specific kind of meetings about maybe niche areas within innovation management, that sort of give time to that. I think that would be an interesting area to explore. Yeah.
So that the answer is part forum.
Yes, I think so. Having more diversity in the in the, I suppose, types of sessions that take place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's good value. And look at the comments from Charlie. They're really helpful for this, because this leads to our conversation on Tuesday. This leads to what we do in our year in review, which we'll do in the middle of December. And if you didn't know already, everybody around this particular screen, Charlie is the chair, convener and chair of the group that's producing the competency framework standard for the world. Interesting relationship between that and the body of knowledge or mentorship programs such as this. So, Catherine, I've got another question or two, but What think you about that? Critical relationships, says Charlie. Yeah, exactly. Can you comment on it? I mean, Charlie's not here, so I'm unfairly volunteering you.
I'm sorry, on critical relationships, I was back more actually, Paul, on your suggestions about niche areas. Perhaps you might like what? Because I mean, we're all ears for what's next. I mean, and could they be led by particular subject matter experts? Is that how it works in Sweden?
For the thematic meeting groups?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are entirely community organized. So someone says, I will do this. I want to gather a list of people that want to talk about this topic. And then from the central secretariat, or whichever way you want to call it, we can assist with, pushing engagement out, like posts or newsletters or invitations to all members. But really, it's up to them to find out who they are and meet in any way, shape, or form that works for them. Some of them have breakfast meetings, some of them have afternoon meetings, some of them meet once every 2 years.
Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, listen, because we're game. If there's a particular topic, Carl, you talked about sustainability, Paul, you talked about elements of innovation management. If let me let you know that if anybody wants to put their hand up and lead a thematic group, you are more than welcome. Yes, but
Drop
look,
the mic.
we're all part of, like, we can all learn from each other. So yeah, no, that has been something that has been a part of the kind of the bigger ethos, but like anything, just the hand putting up bit is is what we're asking other people to do, because it can't be the same for all the time.
No, and it won't be. And I know there are some prospects now in intermediate and long term, but we'll come back on that. So we're probably close to the wrap up time, and just a reminder for next week, it's a coffee stop. And then we've got a few things to fit in among the following weeks, depending on our leader meeting this Tuesday. We'd really love to have a conversation about the company's framework. The book club we did was great fun. And I think looking at the body of knowledge, we've got a few other dives we can do into that, which, the conversation when we did that the last time was great crack. So I would just simply like to repeat that. And the impact event we ran in September was successful. And that goes to exactly what Vilho said about the thematic. That's about innovation management. But it shouldn't be a separate beastie, because we need the connectedness. The connectedness is what makes this work. It's the shoulder to lean on. But a better mix of the online Friday coffee stops and the face-to-face stuff is probably a key element of what we're hearing and what we think is needed next. Final question from me then is, wonder what we can do to broaden the type of people who are interested and able to get involved in Innovate Island next year. Younger students, not age, but they're less experienced students, experts in different niches, to the point that Vilho made, and other thoughts. So that was my reaction to today, is that this is brilliant. Let's keep doing it. That helps us think about what we might do next year. It doesn't give us complete solutions. So once around the room, if you had a magic wand, what would you do next year for Innovate Island with respect to mentorship or anything else on your mind? And Charlie's typing again, so no pressure. Paul.
I think on the thematic group meetings, having those leaders who are interested in having those discussions and leading it themselves rather than being on the leadership team of Innovate Island is a great idea. But also maybe looking at, because innovation management is very horizontal, right? It applies to a lot of things, but maybe having groups that are focus on the vertical and sort of involve people through bringing that connection in, through focusing on the vertical, then they're like, oh, okay, it's applicable here for me, and then they get involved that way. I think that might be one avenue. Those are my thoughts.
Brilliant. I'm just looking at Charlie's comments and then Catherine's. Oh, he's backing up Catherine's point. Wouldn't it be great to have bottom up? I don't know that you put a structure on that, Vilho. You just provided for and then they happen.
For the meeting groups?
For things that are bottom up, for things that are led by subgroups or by membership.
Yes, it could be more structured, the support that we offer for that, but the support really is that look at the other ones, look at how they're doing it. How do you want to do it?
Okay, that's enough for the end of a lunchtime. Very quickly, so 10 seconds if possible. Declan, what do you think? You're on mute, Declan.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Thank you very much. As I said, I'm very new to this. I don't know the forum. I'm just interested to, I suppose, feel my way through it. On the ability to get people in, and the way I got involved or found out about this is I met a young lady who's a member at a meeting, and she said, I think it might be something you would be interested in.
Very good. Thank you, young lady.
That's I'd never heard of it before. So I was, because I was wrapped up in business, my own, but I was retired, and I wanted to give something back to the community that gave me so much. And she said, oh, I think that this might be a nice forum for you. They're all a bunch of eccentric weirdos.
Yeah, we are. Well, sorry, I am. None of the other people. So well said, though, Declan. Thank you. The next on my screen is Carl, Mark, and then Justin. Well said, Carl.
I think I'll just pick up what Paul and Catherine said, something around the verticals. That looking at themes, thematic areas. As I said, you know, I've innovation background. The last couple of years, I've been looking at sustainability. So maybe there's something there. It's been an itch that I've wanted to scratch. So leave with me. See if I can sort of come up with something around that space. So leave with me.
Mark, we have to put you ahead of Justin because he's younger and better looking than him.
Very harsh, Justin. I've got your back. Don't worry. I think I like the idea of the verticals. I think it's good. It'd be a good way to contribute. I think in person sounds great as well for mixing up the coffee stops. Although I'm based in the north, I'm sure I could make it down occasionally. Or if we can find enough people up here, I would happily do something or host something up here as well.
Levy was a great day out, and there are a couple of other places we can meet as well, so we can go back to old haunts. Good thought, Mark. Justin.
Yeah, I think thematic, you know, topics that interest people, but it will both include and exclude. But you know, that's the world. I think the in-person absolutely is vital. I think I don't like the idea, but I think the idea of spreading the load, you know, taking the heat off you guys, I think that's the right thing to do. Personally, it's not comfortable, but it goes back to Paul's theme of pushing what you're comfortable with. So yeah, I think that's solid. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that was fantastic inputs from everybody. Yes, last word from Vilho, but just to emphasize, it's at the hour, so this is absolutely the last
for the community groups. They form and they dissipate and they reform, and you know, the important part is that it's not the board doing it.
Amen. Well said. We will be here next Friday. Enjoy, everybody. Thanks so much for joining. Paul and Vilho, that was a great example. We think we have some ideas on how to build on that. Let's go for it. Well done, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Have a good weekend. See you.